So what things give you gaming nostalgia? Because I've got some good ones that came up in that.
All right,
Discord.
well, definitely transparent. I'm thinking N64s.
Yes. Oh,
Game
yeah.
Boys.
Game Boy.
Stuff like that. Game Boy Advance specifically. So transparent stuff. I've always loved that.
There's something about every time I see the original Game Boy, the
the big,
white grey one.
Big grey one, yeah.
I'm instantly teleported back to it. And that and the Game Gear.
Yes.
Instantly teleported back to that kind of like nostalgia feeling of like, that was amazing.
I don't get that with the Game Boy. I get a throwback of, I hate Tetris.
I love Tetris, man.
Yeah. Well, when I was a kid, my parents used to drag me because I was the youngest, so my brother and sister and stuff were a lot older, so they'd be off doing their thing. I'd be forced to stick around with my parents, wouldn't I? So they would go and like have drinks and whatever with their friends, and I'd just be at their friend's house with nothing to do. Do you know what I mean? Because we're talking 90s here, and so I'd just be there with a pen and paper, like drawing stuff,
drawing Mario.
Yeah, and there was this one set of friends that they had, and he was a gamer, but he was like proper like 96 Windows or whatever, So it was like, okay, there's like Minefield or whatever it is on
Minefield. It was,
And so I was like, okay, Minesweeper, that's what it is.
Yes, it was Minesweeper.
And I was like, meh. And then he was like, I've got a Game Boy, and I was like, that sounds good.
Yeah,
give me the Game Boy.
One game.
Yes, and
because it came with it for free.
And the equivalent of, imagine me now. This is how big the Game Boy was for me, right? So I was like, oh, this is amazing. And all they had was Tetris. And, oh my days! After about 12 hours of that, I'm done. So so my memory goes,
and like burnt in. Trying to keep up with like level 9.
Yeah. So that Game Gear gives me fun nostalgia because I had Sonic 2 on there.
Yes.
Like, there's loads of stuff on that. My brother gave me it. You've seen it in the studio and stuff. So
it was the first thing in your place. I was like, picked up. I was like, oh, it's so cool.
Yes. And that gives me great fun vibes. So I have way better memories of the Game Gear than I do of the Game Boy.